Hello everyone, and a warm welcome to Story Haven. Today, I'm delighted to share a truly beautiful story with you. A tale deeply woven with themes of time, the relentless grip of pressure, and the profound art of learning to slow down, even when the world around you is constantly urging you to rush. By the time our story concludes, you'll discover just how powerfully and subtly patience can reshape a life. In the heart of a bustling, crowded city, a place always abuzz with noise, glowing screens, and incessant motion, lived a man named Alex. At 32 years old, Alex was undeniably responsible and dedicated to his work. Yet, beneath his diligent exterior, he harbored a deep sense of restlessness. Each morning, his alarm felt like an unwelcome jolt, signaling the start of another frantic day. He'd bolt through breakfast, then hurry to catch his bus, his mind racing even as his body sat still. His office, though small and brightly lit, was perpetually filled with the hum of computers and an unspoken, yet palpable pressure. The wall clock's loud ticking became a constant, almost accusatory, reminder that time seemed to be slipping away, moving at a pace he simply couldn't match. Alex often found himself observing his friends' lives. One celebrated a promotion, another proudly purchased a new home. Still another shared beaming photographs from exotic trips abroad. Alex would genuinely smile for their successes. Yet later, when he was alone, a profound heaviness settled in his chest. Comparison, a silent and insidious guest, had gradually crept into his life, urging him to measure his salary against theirs, his lifestyle, his personal milestones, his very timeline against the accomplishments of others. At night, as he lay in bed, the same unsettling question would repeatedly echo in his mind, a persistent whisper that stole his peace. Am I moving too slowly? One particular evening, after an exceptionally long and draining day, Alex found himself unable to face the thought of going straight home. When his bus arrived, he simply let it pass, choosing instead to start walking. The city lights, initially accompanying him, gradually receded into the distance. The cacophony of urban voices softened, and soon, only the rhythmic echo of his own footsteps accompanied him on the road. On the fringes of the city, largely overlooked by hurried passers-by, lay an old, somewhat neglected park. Its iron gate was visibly rusty, and the paint on its signs was peeling away. Alex, feeling an inexplicable pull, pushed the reluctant gate open and stepped into its quiet embrace. The air inside was thick with the earthy scent of wet soil and the sweet decay of old leaves. Towering trees stood solemnly, like ancient, silent sentinels. A gentle chorus of crickets chirped softly in the twilight. It was then, for the first time all day, that Alex consciously slowed his pace, letting his hurried steps quiet. Near a tranquil, small pond, something suddenly captured his attention. A turtle, moving with remarkable deliberation, was making its way across the path. Alex paused, completely mesmerized, and watched its progress. The turtle would lift a foot, carefully place it down, hold still for a moment, then repeat the motion. Alex let out a soft sigh, a quiet observation escaping his lips. So incredibly slow. A street dog lay just a short distance away, its body utterly relaxed, its eyes reflecting a profound sense of calm. The dog watched the slow-moving creature with an almost serene patience. Alex sank onto a nearby wooden bench. His shoulders sagged with the weight of the day, and his breathing remained shallow and quick. Yet, in stark contrast, the natural world around him was profoundly, beautifully unhurried. Inside his mind, however, the familiar torrent of thoughts continued to race. Everyone else is moving ahead. You should have accomplished so much more by now. Why didn't you start sooner, push harder? The turtle eventually reached the pond's edge and, with the same unhurried grace, slid into the water. There was no discernible fear in its movements, no frantic rush, only an absolute, quiet trust in its own pace. Alex felt a strange, unfamiliar ache begin to form in his chest. At that precise moment, an old park caretaker ambled past, leaning on his broom. His back was gently stooped with age, and his steps, though slow, possessed a quiet, unwavering steadiness. He glanced at Alex, a kindly expression on his face, and spoke in a soft, knowing voice. Fast feet don't always reach far. The caretaker then gestured toward the pond. That particular turtle has called this park home for many, many years, he explained gently. Many other animals come and go with the seasons, but the turtle, it simply stays. Alex, still pondering, furrowed his brow. But it's so incredibly slow, he mused. The caretaker offered a gentle, understanding smile. Yes, he affirmed. And yet, it remains peaceful, utterly content, and very much alive. With that, he turned and ambled away, resuming his task of sweeping fallen leaves with a quiet, measured rhythm. Those simple, profound words resonated deeply with Alex, staying with him long after the caretaker had departed. That night, Alex lay on his bed, his gaze fixed on the ceiling, his usually active phone resting silently beside him. He allowed his thoughts to wander through his life, the incessant rush, the constant undercurrent of fear. For the very first time, he dared to pose a truly revolutionary question to himself. What if, perhaps, I don't actually need to hurry at all? The days that followed were not magically transformed. Nothing in Alex's life changed overnight, nor did he expect it to. He still contended with the familiar pressures, wrestled with lingering doubts, and, of course, continued to make mistakes. Yet, subtly, unmistakably, something deep within him had begun to soften. He started by making a series of small, conscious choices. He cut down on compulsively checking social media every hour. He deliberately focused his attention on one task at a time, giving it his full presence. He even began learning a new skill, approaching it slowly and deliberately, free from the usual panic and self-imposed deadlines. Some days he still felt profoundly tired. On others, a wave of laziness would wash over him. There were even days he yearned to simply quit everything. But each time he recalled the image of the patient turtle. He understood now, being slow did not equate to failure. Instead, slowness represented a quiet, unwavering steadiness. Weeks gradually transitioned into months. There were no grand, loud celebrations marking sudden, dramatic successes, but Alex felt a profound, internal lightness. At work, he found himself approaching tasks with greater care, sharper focus, and a more engaged presence. One particular afternoon, his manager took notice, not of any increase in his speed, but rather of his remarkable and dependable consistency. Alex was subsequently entrusted with a new responsibility, not a monumental leap, but a significant and meaningful step forward. That evening, Alex walked home beneath a serene, quiet sky. For the first time in what felt like an eternity, a genuine smile spread across his face. It wasn't the smile of someone who had won a race or achieved a dramatic victory, but rather the quiet, confident smile of a man who had finally learned to trust his own unique journey. One crisp early morning, Alex found himself drawn back to the old park. The sun was rising with a deliberate grace, casting a warm, golden light that shimmered gently on the pond's surface. Birds sang their morning melodies in soft, harmonious tones. And there, as if waiting for him, was the turtle again, moving with its characteristic slowness, yet with an undeniable certainty. A profound warmth began to spread through Alex's chest. He understood it now with crystal clarity. Life was never meant to be a relentless race. Instead, life was a vast and winding path, and every true path, he realized, truly opens and reveals itself when walked with unwavering patience. Alex did not miraculously become rich overnight, nor did he suddenly surpass everyone else in the fierce competition of life. But he did achieve something far more meaningful. He became profoundly calm. He became singularly focused. And, in his own quiet, steadfast manner, he became truly brave. He had absorbed an invaluable lesson. Rushing, with its incessant demands, only fragments the mind and spirit. Patience, on the other hand, is the quiet, steady architect of a truly well-lived life. Just like a mighty river, life inherently moves forward, even when its current flows gently and slowly. So, If you ever find yourself feeling behind, overwhelmed by exhaustion, or crushed by the relentless pressures of life, please take a moment to recall this story. Remember the unwavering turtle. Remember the serene solace of the quiet park. And remember this fundamental truth. Even the slowest, most deliberate steps invariably move you forward. Resist the urge to rush through your precious life. Allow yourself to grow and evolve at your own unique, natural speed. Take a deep, restorative breath. And always remember, every thoughtful action sets off a corresponding reaction, and genuine patience will unfailingly bring its own profound rewards. Simply let your life gracefully unfold, one peaceful, intentional step at a time. Thank you so very much for joining us and listening to this story on Story Haven today. If this tale resonated with you and truly touched your heart, please consider giving us a like, subscribing to our channel, and hitting that notification bell so you never miss a new story. We look forward to seeing you in the next one.